What's good, people? I'm Black, and today I'll be discussing my tier list about the fighters that should be cut from the UFC. I could just make a very short list of fighters that should be cut from the UFC, but I had to make a tier list. I have made it a goal to make at least one tier list video a week. I'm gonna upload my predictions tomorrow, and then maybe a video on Friday or Saturday. I've been a bit busy lately and stuff, so hold on. I'm gonna drink some water. Hold on. Yeah. Uh, so I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Now there are some fighters which I think now all of these fighters you could cut them from the UFC right now, and I wouldn't be too mad about it. But some of these fighters deserve to be cut more than others. Now I could just make a very simple list of the top 5 fighters that deserve to be cut from the UFC. But once again, I had to make a tier list. There will only be 3 tiers in this tier list because what else? Like I was thinking about adding 4 tiers, but I made 3 tiers, and then when I was thinking about the fourth tier, I just blanked out. I just ran out of creativity pretty much. So let me just explain the tiers of this tier list pretty much first. The first tier that we have, the highest tier, is I don't see a future. Uh, don't see a future, which pretty much means they're in the UFC right now, but in the far future, I don't see that. I don't think they'll be in the UFC. I don't think there's a future for them in the UFC. I think they'll be cut pretty soon. They have a couple fights. They might win a couple. They might lose a couple, but they'll probably be cut up in a few years. Then the tier below that, we have one last chance, which is pretty self-explanatory. Most of the fighters in this category, in this tier, are pretty much they should be cut right now, but instead they have a fight lined up. But some of them don't fall into that. Some of them, I genuinely believe have they have like one last chance to prove themselves type of stuff. So yeah. And then the lowest tier that we have on the tier list is cut them now. Pretty much, that's pretty self-explanatory as well. Just cut them. I don't even care. Let's just start. Let's just start the tier list. I don't care. Let's not yap much further. Let's start off with somebody who's fighting this weekend in Thai Tuivasa, Thai Fatty Vasa, Thai Blobby Vasa, Thai Piggy Vasa, Thai Titty Vasa. Uh, This guy, man, what does he even do? He's like on a 5 or 6 fight losing streak at this point. Yeah, dude. One last chance. It's not. Taiti Wasa is decent, dude. He's not that bad. But not only did he lose to Talison Teixeira, he's fighting fucking Louis Sutherland. If he loses that fucking fight, just cut him from the UFC. I don't even care. Because I think he generally can beat Louis Sutherland. Louis Sutherland is not an incredibly hard fight, There's just one problem, man. If he somehow loses to Louis Sutherland after he lost to Teixeira, before that you could make an argument that those guys were ranked and they were at least decent. What the fuck has Louis Sutherland done? And what the fuck has Talison Teixeira done? You're losing to pretty much 2 unranked random heavyweights at that point. So I think at that point you should be cut from the UFC. I don't want to see this guy anymore. We'll miss you. We'll miss the Shui. We'll miss the Blob. And not the motherfucker got a jujitsu tattoo on his back. That's like me getting a girlfriend tattoo on my back. That's like me writing. Let's just move on to the next fighter on the tier list. We have somebody who fought last weekend, and somebody who I hate. Not necessarily hate, but dude, this guy has ruined a bunch of my picks. Mostly because he's a fraud. But last pick, I got that right. Don't worry about it. It's none other than Marcus Fraudchecha, Marcus Buchecha, or as we like to call him here, Marcus Fraudchecha. Dude, this guy is horrible. He comes from a very extensive jiu-jitsu background, but in heavyweight, that shit does not work, At heavy, if you move down to light heavyweight, he could do something, but I think they should just cut him at this point. Not only did he lose to fucking Martin Budet, who I guess is decent, But Martin today just got slimed out in Octagon, if I'm not wrong, or in some other promotion after he got cut. So he lost to that guy. He went to a draw with Kennedy and Jessica. What the fuck happened there? You're going to draw with Kennedy and Jessica, bro. You need to be cut. And then he got sparked out cold by Ryan Spann. I get it, Ryan Spann is actually decent and he's on a bit of a run right now. But dude, Ryan Spann isn't that good. And he's pretty much on like a 2. He's like, what, 0-2-1 in the UFC. And I think he generally needs to be cut. Because who is this guy gonna be? Like, you're gonna feed him random trash cans. Now, let me clear this up. There are a lot of fighters that I believe should be cut from the UFC. I wrote down every single one of them. There's over 100. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. There's over 100, but what I mean by the fighters that should be cut and what you mean could mean a bit different. So I think let's just be on the safe side and say a little under 100 fighters should be cut from the UFC. That you can make an argument for them to be cut from the UFC right now. And Marcus Buchecha, man, dude, he's gonna beat those trash cans, but I generally believe he should be cut right now from the UFC. Not only did he lose to Buday, Marcus Buchecha, dude. This guy came in with all the hype in the world, and then he just got fraud checked, and then he went to a draw, and now he just got slimed out cold pretty badly. And I think cutting him is the move. Let's move on to the next fighter on the tier list. We have Brandon Ribeiro. Cut him from the UFC. Why is this guy even in the UFC? I think he got called on short notice to fight someone. If I'm not wrong, hold on. Let's pull up this guy's Tapology page, right? Where's my fucking Google? Tapology. Brandon Ribeiro. This guy, he's 2-5 in the UFC. Yeah, he got called on short notice to fight Azamat Murzakanov, if I'm not wrong. He has 2 random wins. One of them is DR Nurgajai and Caio Machado. Who the fuck even is that? And that's by split decision. He lost to Min Zhang. He beat Bruno Lopez on the contender series. And Bruno Lopez himself should be this guy. He's in the UFC. I don't think he should be in the UFC. He lost to Magomed Gadziev, who's by majority decision. That's awful. He lost to Murzakanov. Okay, that's whatever. Umar Sai, that's whatever. Abdul Rahman Yakiev is also decent. But it's not the fact that he's losing. He's getting fucking brutally finished in every single one of these fights. And who are these guys who win? DR Nurgajai? Which DR Nurgajai did catch a pretty decent win. But I don't think that guy should be in the UFC either. So, just cut him from the UFC, man. I don't want to see Brandon Ribeiro in the UFC. I'm never gonna pick this guy. Unless he's fighting some absolute random trash can. Yeah, dude, just cut him. Next up, we have... See you at the top! Conor McGregor! Michael Chandler. Yeah, I think he shouldn't... I don't see a future. Considering he's fighting Rupi, even if he loses that fight, he's got like at least 2 more fights, even if they give him unfavorable unranked matchups. But I don't see a future for this guy in the UFC. Either he's going to retire in the next 2 or 3 years, or if he decides to extend his career longer than that, he's gonna be cut from the UFC. Or he's gonna be bottom of the barrel and everybody's gonna say, why is this guy in the UFC? He's just never gonna be cut. But I don't see a future for this guy. And those are the only 2 options. I don't think he'll actually ever be cut from the UFC. Either he'll retire pretty soon, or I think he'll get beat so many times that he'll be bottom of the barrel unranked fighter. And then everyone will be calling for him to get thrown out of the UFC. But that just won't happen. But yeah, that's why I think I don't see a future. Tier is pretty fair for Michael Chandler. There is one thing though. He might be able to beat Rufi, which I know sounds crazy, but I will talk about that fight in like a video. I'll make like a 10-minute video about breaking that fight down. I think I think I should do that. Next fighter on the tier list we have Harry Hardwick. Listen, brother, I love you with all my heart, but Harry Hardwick, you have one last chance. Give him somebody decent that's unranked, not somebody that's just like don't give him another very hard fight, The motherfucker got Cowboy Fernandez and Marwan Rahiki back to back. You know, both of these fights he got injured. You know, how does that even happen? And the leg kick defense just wasn't there. Marwan, he doesn't have much pop in his shots. Marwan Rahiki is decent, but dude, if he loses his next fight, and I'm expecting he's gonna have a step down in competition. If he loses his next fight, man, just cut him from the UFC. He got called on short notice as well. He wasn't actually ever supposed to be in the UFC anyway. So if he loses his next fight, just cut him from the UFC. He has one last chance, bro. You have one last chance to stay here. Next fight on the tier list, we have Dion Barboza. Now, I didn't add many females into the tier list because women's MMA is already pretty fucking shallow. The divisions already don't have enough fighters. But there are a couple that I think should be cut from the UFC. There's at least fucking 10. But I only added 3 to this tier list because I'm only adding the important fighters. I could add fucking 100 fighters into this tier list, you know. But I'm only gonna add around, I think I only added 30 fighters to this tier list, which are the most important ones. So the most popular ones and the people I have something to talk about, those kind of fighters. As for Dion Barboza, she's decent. She lost a couple of fights to decent competition. That's not why she should be cut. She threw a fucking illegal soccer kick and she didn't get disqualified. Her opponent was knocked out on the fucking ground and ref woke her up and told her to keep continuing. I would rather see a guy on a 4-6-5 fight losing streak in the UFC unranked than somebody who's a cheater, like who just blatantly fouls everyone, you know. That's my personal opinion, and you guys are gonna see another person in this tier for the exact same reason. Just cut her from the UFC, dude. What are we doing? I don't like seeing these cheaters in the UFC. Like, that was pretty fucking blatant there, dude. And the bitch was fucking, I don't know, dude. I don't like seeing her. Whoever she's fighting next, I'm gonna be rooting for her. That's what I'll say. I don't like Dion Barboza. I don't think these are the kind of fighters that should be in the UFC. I think she should be cut from the UFC. Next fighter on our tier list, we have Josh Emmett. I'm gonna put him in the I don't see a future tier. Once again, similar to the Michael Chandler situation, I don't think he'll ever be actually cut. I think he'll retire before he's cut. But if he does keep pushing, like a year or two more before he retires, before he should retire, I mean, he should just retire at this point, you know. But I just don't see a future for him, man. He's slow, he's sluggish, his chin is gone, kind of. His chin wasn't really ever there. His power's gonna start declining, you know. And people just avoided getting into that range with him, but now he just got TKO'd badly by Kevin Vallejo. Dude, and he's been figured out, you know. His grappling is god awful, you know. You can just kick him on the outside and get away with it. So as he gets older, as he gets up there in age, I do not see a future for him. Right now, there are guys that he can beat. In a couple of years, I think he will be cut from the UFC if he does not retire. That's what this tier pretty much is, and I think Josh Emmett belongs in this tier. Next fighter on the tier list, we have, oh my. You guys know I'm Indian, right? You guys know I'm from India, so you know how I feel about this one. Anshul Jubilee. Real ones know he would beat Khabib Nurmagomedov. Stylistically speaking, he beats Khabib, bro. I'm not lying, dude. Just look at the styles, dude. Khabib, he's like a nightmare match for Khabib, dude. He subs Khabib round one. No, I think he should be cut from the UFC. I don't know why this guy is even here. I mean, his losses aren't that bad. Mike Breeden is kind of decent, and Quillen Salkill is like a future champion, I guess. It's just the fact that he beat fucking Jet Asari and no one else. I think instead of the only reason I'm putting him in this tier, I wanted to put him in one last fight tier, but the only reason I'm putting him here is because Shamrock got cut from the UFC, and I think Shamrock should have stayed in the UFC. They should have given both of these guys one last fight. And they should have been like, okay, whoever wins this fight keeps their contract. The one who loses, just throw him out of the UFC. That's what should have happened. Dude, that would have been bigger than, you know, that would have been bigger than McGregor Chandler. You know, that would have been the next McGregor Khabib, dude. You know, that would have been bigger than Topuria Makachev. So yeah, I guess it's about time we redeem the code and let this guy go. Yeah, man. Let's just move on. I don't like talking about this. This one, I have genuine hatred for Kaya Sakura because he fucked over my pick for whichever card he fought Tim Elliott on. Dude, what the fuck does this guy even do? If he's fighting, who's the guy? He's fighting Cameron Smotherman next. Who, like, if you guys don't know, he like passed out. He like collapsed, fainted during the walkout. He was supposed to fight, and the fight is gonna take place in bantamweight if I'm not wrong. So he's moving up a weight class. You know, he fought for a belt. He fought for a belt at 125, and if he doesn't beat Cameron Smotherman, just cut him from the UFC, man. I don't want to see this guy's face anymore. Kai Fraudakura, that's what we call him here, you know. Kai Fraudakura. This fucking fraud. This fucking fraud, man. I just don't know what to do with this guy. If he loses to Cameron Smotherman, he's decent. He's not that good. And yeah, if he loses to Cameron Smotherman, just cut him from the UFC, man. His contract must be expensive as well, so I would just say if he loses to Cameron Smotherman, just release him from the UFC, man. I could not give less of a shit about this guy. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Ismail Bonfim. I would say I would give him one last chance. He has a decent record in the UFC, but he hasn't really beat anyone that's decent. But his losses are to pretty good competition, if I'm not wrong. Ismail Bonfim. Hold on, if I'm not, let me go on his topology page. He beat some random names, you know. He beat Terence McKinney by flying knee, that's a good win. You know, he lost to BSD, no shame in that. Lost to Nazim Sadikov by Doctor Stoppage, no shame in that. Chris Padilla, I guess Chris Padilla is also decent. But if he loses his next fight, which is probably going to be a step down in competition from Chris Padilla, just cut him from the UFC, man. Like, yeah, what else is there to say? You know, let's just move on to the next part on the tier list. We have Pooja Tomar. Let's just get the Indians out of the list at this point, dude. Let's just address the elephants in the room. The Indian fighters do not belong in the UFC. Let's be fucking real. I'm not. It's just I'm out of words. She's fighting Shi Ming, which who the fuck put together that fight? That's a complete mismatch. She's never gonna win that fight. If she somehow ends up winning that fight, keep her in the UFC. But if she loses, which let's be real, she's probably gonna lose that fight. If she loses that fight, just cut her from the UFC, man. She has one win if I'm not wrong, and she did drop Shauna Bannon. She did get submitted from while Shauna Bannon was on bottom, so I don't know, man. I don't want to see her. If she loses to Shi Ming, just cut her from the UFC. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Calvin Kattar. I'm gonna put Calvin Kattar in the don't see a future tier. He's probably not gonna be cut, and he's probably gonna win a couple of fights here and there. He's still pretty decent. I think he should stay in the UFC for a couple of years, but he's getting up there in age, and after a couple of years, maybe he'll have a run for maybe he'll be in the UFC for 2 or 3 more years, and after that, I think he'll be cut from the UFC because he is deteriorating at a very horrible rate, and he did drag Kevin Vallejos to a decision, but he's getting worse and worse every fight. I guess he's decent, but as his age increases, I think he will be cut from the UFC in a couple of years. And yeah, but I don't really see a future for Calvin Kattar. I don't think he'll ever be ranked or anything like that ever again. Let's just move on to the next part on the tier list. We have somebody who fought last weekend again, Rodolfo Vieira, or Frodolfo Vieira, as I would like to call him. Frodolfo Vieira, the thing about this fucking fraud is that he also comes from this crazy jiu-jitsu background, but he isn't middleweight, you know. The problem with this guy is he has no fucking wrestling whatsoever. Not, dude, this motherfucker, he lost to Eric McConaughey. Do you know who Eric McConaughey is? McConaughey got slept by Susarkayev. Eric McConaughey is not good at all. And he lost to that guy. And not only that, he fumbled the bag very fucking hard. He dropped Mechanic in the first round. And then he took his back, then somehow lost the back, and then somehow got into a worse position. I don't know what the fuck this guy even does. He got subbed by Fluffy Hernandez. This guy is supposed to be a jiu-jitsu specialist. He has no wrestling whatsoever, so he can't even implement his jiu-jitsu. Not only that, he got slept horribly by Bo Nickel. Now, I do think him losing to Eric McConaughey did ruin my picks, but there is a positive. It means Bot Nickel might actually still be a fraud. He beat Rodolfo Vieira. You know who else beat Rodolfo Vieira? Eric McConaughey. So maybe Bo Nickel still isn't as good as we think it is. That's the only positive I can take away. But yeah, I'm gonna put him in the one last chance tier. If he loses his next fight, give him another fight. If he loses his next fight, just cut him from the UFC. I don't want to see this guy. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Gerald Mearshart. If I'm not wrong, GM3 he has a fight coming up. He's scheduled to fight. If he loses that one, just cut him. Gerald Mearshart shouldn't even be in the UFC at this point. If he loses his next fight, which, let's be fucking honest, he's probably going to lose his next fight, let's just cut him from the UFC. I don't think there's any more words required. Listen, we are gonna miss GM3. UFC won't feel the same without GM3. But I could not give less of a fuck about Gerald Mearshart, dude. Why is this guy even in the UFC? What does he even do? So yeah, let's just move on to the next fighter on the deals. Oh man, this one hurts more than the Indian fighters, dude. This one hits close to home, dude. Chase the Dream Hooper, man. Oh man, I'm gonna put him in the I don't see a future tier list. What I mean by I don't see a future is not that he doesn't have a future. I think you give him 4 or 5 years, he's probably gonna be developing into a fighter. But if I had to judge as to how things are going, he shouldn't be cut. But in a couple of years, if things keep going like they're going, he's gonna be cut from the UFC. The trajectory, if we follow the trajectory, he's gonna be cut from the UFC in a couple of years. He had so much potential, man. Oh fuck, potential, man. Fucking Jujutsu Kaisen references, dude. Let's just move on to the next fighter. Cedric Dumbass. Cedric's Dumbass is I think he should be cut from the UFC. Like, who has this guy beat? Name me one Cedric's Dumbass win. Not only that, he just lost to Jackson McQuay. He just lost to fucking Jesus Christ. Well, there's no shame in that. He literally lost to Jesus Christ, but he beat fucking Cody Brundage, Abu Azaitar. He got put into a guillotine by fucking Josh Fremd. He lost to Ruzi Boy, who's he beat fucking Tui Luilwin. He lost to Oleksiejczuk and whatever. That's not too bad. Went to a no contest with Zachary Reese. 50 seconds into the fight, gets kicked in the nuts. Not his fault. Not his fault. Dante Johnson puts him in a nasty guillotine. Jackson McQuaid drops him, lands nasty ground and pound, and then puts him in a Darce choke. I think at this point, it's pretty obvious what this guy's weakness is. It's front headlock chokes. Like, he has been submitted by guillotine twice in the UFC, and once by a fucking Darce choke. So, and he also beats his wife. So I don't want to see this guy in the UFC. The only decent win he has is his wife. So I think he should be cut from the UFC. I think we need to make space for better fighters. Yeah. Next fighter on the tier list, we have... Who do we have? We have Kevin Borjas. Now, Kevin Borjas, he was a decent prospect at a time. Kevin Borjas, he has like a record of like 4-1 in the UFC. Man. I picked this guy to beat fucking Sumu Darji, man. I can't believe that shit. He won on the Contender Series. He lost to Joshua Van. No shame in that. He lost to Alessandro Costa. Alessandro Costa is actually decent. He beat Ronaldo Rodriguez, which in hindsight, Ronaldo Rodriguez isn't even that good. He lost to Sumu Darji and then he got TKO'd by Emmanuel Rodriguez. The worst part about the Emmanuel Rodriguez fight isn't even that he lost, that he got knocked out. It's because he knocked down Emmanuel Rodriguez and then got finished. So, This guy, the only thing he has is a win over Ronaldo Rodriguez, who's decent, but I don't rate him that highly. And somebody with a 4-1 record, I don't want to see this guy. And how badly he lost to Sumit Arji and Emmanuel Rodriguez, I don't want to see this guy in the UFC. You know, people looked at him as like this crazy prospect. He's a fucking fraud. That's what he is. And I think he should be cut from the UFC. Next fighter on the tier list we have, Daniel Zellhuber. I'm gonna put him in one last chance. Yeah, give him a step down in competition. You know, Daniel Zellhuber, he has a couple of decent wins. He beat some random cans. He lost to Ribovic. You know, shouldn't have been a split decision. He clearly lost to Ribovic. You know, he got slimed out by fucking Bobby Green, and not only that, he got dropped by if I'm not Michael Jackson. What the fuck? The guy, I'm forgetting his name. Who the fuck did he lose to? The guy he lost to before Michael Johnson. Yeah, Michael Johnson. Fuck. He got dropped by Michael Johnson. He got finished by Bobby Green, which is awful. He went to a war with Esteban. His whole career is based off of that war with Esteban Ribovic, who isn't even that good. So I don't know what to tell you guys. I think they should give him one last chance. You know, Bobby Green actually might be decent. Michael Johnson actually might be decent. They should give him one last chance against a step down in competition. If he loses that, just release him, brother. Just release him, brother. I don't want to see this guy in the UFC anymore if he loses another fight. Next fight on the tier list, we have another French fraud. What is with these French guys and being frauds, dude? We have Omar Sy, or Omar Sy, however you pronounce this guy. This guy, man. Omar Sy, he has one good win against fucking Brandon Roberto. He lost to fucking Ion Kutelaba by guillotine. The guillotine wasn't even tight. You know, he pretty much tapped. He pretty much gave up. He lost to Alonso Manifield. Other than that, he has random wins. You know, he fucking beat Tuko Tacos and he beat fucking a random Korean guy. So, he not only did he lose to Manifield, he lost to Kutelaba. And let's just ignore the Brandon Roberto win. So, if he loses one more fight, I think he should get a step down in competition. And Kutelaba, he's decent, but the guillotine, man, it wasn't even tight. It was as if he fucking gave up. You know, no guillotine defense at all. And Ian Kutelaba is not that good for you to be getting put in guillotines. You know, guillotines are like so unreliable, and you got submitted by a guillotine. So I think if he loses his next fight, just cut him from the UFC, bro. I don't want to see this French fuck in the UFC. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Francisco Prado. Now, Francisco Prado, he was decent at a time. I used to rate him quite highly, and he was a prospect at a time, but he has a fucking 1-5 record in the UFC. He beat Ottoman Azaitar. Who the fuck even is that? You know, nobody gives a fuck about Ottoman Azaitar. No, he lost to Daniel Zellhuber, not that good. He lost to fucking Jamie Mullarkey in his debut. That's all I need to tell you. He lost to Jake Matthews. He lost to Nikolai Vertenikov by split decision, which I think he could have won. It could have gone either way, but then he got fucking UD'd by Charles Radke. He's on a 4-fight losing streak. He's 1-5 in the UFC. Why is this guy in the UFC? He should have been cut after the fucking Jake Matthews lost. He should have been cut after the fucking Nikolai Vertenikov lost. Why is this guy in the UFC? I don't want to see this guy anymore. You know, I picked him to beat Nikolai Vertenikov. He fucks over my pick. You know, Charles Radke was never gonna beat Charles Radke. He has one win over fucking Ottoman Azaitar. This is what I mean. Like, we are cutting Muhammad Mokaev, but fucking Francisco Prado is in the UFC. What the fuck are we doing? Release this fuck. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Azamat Bekwev. I'm gonna put Azamat Bekwev in don't see a future. You know, Azamat Bekwev, he's actually a decent fighter. It's not that. It's the fucking fact that he got fucking finished by Tresean Gore. Tresean Gore is awful. If you guys know anything about Tresean Gore is dog shit. Tresean Gore, if Tresean Gore Before that fight, if I made this tier list, I would have put Trishan Gore to be cut from the UFC. And he lost to Trishan Gore. And before that, he lost to Yusri Belgaruri. Yusri is actually a very good fighter. He's a very good prospect. He's very dangerous. I no shame in losing to Yusri Belgaruri. The fucking lost to Trishan Gore. And it's not even that he lost. He fumbled so hard. He knocked down Trishan Gore. Then he got knocked down. And then he got put into a fucking guillotine. And the guillotine was so bad, dude. It was horrible. It was terrifying, dude. That guillotine was fucking horrible. I think he went out cold. If you're going out cold by guillotine from fucking Trishan Gore, you need to be cut from the UFC. Yeah, dude, I don't know what to tell you other than that. I think he has a bit of I think he still can pick up some wins, but I don't see a future for this guy. Maybe in a couple of years we'll see him get cut from the UFC. Next fighter on the tier list we have Mayra Bueno Silva. Mayra Bueno Silva, she just lost to Michelle Montague, which no shame in that. Michelle Montague is actually one of the better prospects coming up. Montague is actually very strong too. The only fucking problem is she's a fraud. First of all, she's a steroid cheat, which should tell you enough why she should be cut from the UFC. I don't think she should have even been ranked before the Michelle Montague fight. They just wanted to give Michelle Montague a ranking. That's why she was ranked. But I don't think she deserves to be ranked anyway. There's like a lot of people in the division that already beat her. And now she's gonna get a step down in competition. She got absolutely destroyed by Michelle Montague. And I think if she loses the next fight, they generally need to cut her from the UFC. Because she'll be on like a fucking 4 or 5 fight losing streak. Hold on, let me pull up her topology page. Mayra Bueno Silva. She's on like a 5 fight losing streak. She's gonna be on a 6 fight losing streak if she loses her next fight. And it's probably gonna be to some unranked random bum if she loses her next fight. So I think it's pretty fair to say she has one last chance to redeem herself. I'm not gonna pick her either way, so yeah. Let's just move on to the next fighter on the tier list. We have Junior Tapa. Now his brother did get cut from the UFC already back in last year. Justin Tapa got cut from the UFC. His older brother got cut from the UFC. Or as I would like to say, his Oni-chan got cut from the UFC already. I fucking need to stop with this shit, dude. Yeah, his Aniki got cut from the UFC already, and I think he should have been cut, but he's fighting somebody this weekend, and I don't know if he beats the guy he's fighting, and I think he's gonna be cut from the UFC. I mean, if you take a look at my tier list, he should be. I put him in the one last chance tier because he has a fight coming up, or else he would be in the should have cut them now tier. I would put him in the lower tier, but he has a fight scheduled, so what can we do, right? If he loses that one, just cut him from the UFC. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Giga Chikadze. This fucking bald fuck, dude. I don't see a future for this guy. That's where I'll put him. I don't think he's ever gonna be ranked. I don't think he's ever gonna pick up a couple of wins. I think in the tier of I don't see a future, I think he's the most likely fighter to get cut from the UFC. I think in a couple of years we will see him cut from the UFC. He's old. He's full of mold. He got knocked out pretty badly. He's been figured out. Not only did he get fucking demolished by Kevin Vallejos, he lost to fucking David Obama. I think in a couple of years we'll see him cut from the UFC. That's like if I had to confidently pick one of the fighters from the higher tier to say this guy will be cut from the UFC in a couple of years, it would be him. Next fighter on the tier list we have Cameron Simon. Now if you don't fucking know who Cameron Simon is, this guy, why is this guy even in the UFC? We are cutting fucking Jailton Almeida, which, fair. Which is fair, but what the fuck is this guy doing in the UFC? He's like 3-3 in the UFC. I'm gonna put him in one last chance. He's on a 3 fight losing streak, which, he lost to Peyton Talbot, he lost to Malcolm Wellmaker, which are decent losses. I'm not gonna throw too much shade at him, but the wins that he has is fucking Terence Mitchell, Mana Martinez, Steven Koslow. Who are these guys? Why were these guys in the UFC? And he did lose to C-Rod as well. He lose to Christian Rodriguez, which at that point he was undefeated, so you can't really blame him for losing to Christian Rodriguez. But yeah, he's on a 3-fight losing streak. He's gonna get a step down in competition, or he's gonna get fed to another killer so that they can build up their hype and give him another highlight reel. But if that happens, I think he should genuinely just be cut from the UFC. He has one last fight, in my opinion. After that, he should be cut from the UFC. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Kelvin Fastlam. I'll put him in the I don't see future tier because he does get wins. He's like a win-loss fighter. He wins one, loses one, wins one, loses one. But the downfall is real because he lost to fucking Vicente Luque. He lost to Joe Pyfer, which I mean, who's surprised? He did beat Dustin Stoltzfus, which I guess whatever. Dustin Stoltzfus shouldn't even be in the UFC. I was gonna put him in the tier list, but I don't have enough time to cover that many fucking people. So it is what it is. I think in a couple of years we'll see Galvin Gastelum get cut or retire. I think he'll probably retire before he gets cut. Because like I think the UFC likes this guy, so they won't really cut him. They'll tell him to retire before they have to release him. So I think that's what will happen. But if he doesn't retire, I think they will release him in a couple of years. Next fighter on the tier list we have Torres Finney. Just cut him from the UFC. Not only is this guy a terrorist of the sport, not only is he one of the most boring fighters there is, he lost to fucking Jacob Malkoun. You know how bad Jacob Malkoun is? Jacob Malkoun is horrible. And he got absolutely styled on by Jacob Malkoun. And I think he should be cut from the UFC. He's boring. He lost to the only other midget in the middleweight division. He's not even he shouldn't even be in middleweight. I think he should move down, if anything. So yeah, I think he should be cut from the UFC. I don't like the guy. He fucking puts the audience to sleep instead of the fighters. So and he just lost pretty badly to Jacob Malkoun, who isn't that good. So I think it's pretty fair to say we should just cut him. Those two factors do not combine well, and I think what the product we get from those two things is that he should be cut from the UFC. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Amir Albazi. Amir Albazi, I'll put him in I don't see a future tier. Because the reason for me putting him here, which he's actually pretty highly ranked, I think he's number 6 or number 7 ranked. So you might be thinking, why would you put such a highly ranked fighter in this tier list? Who the fuck has he beat? Kai Kara-France? He robbed Kai Kara-France, if I'm not wrong. He doesn't have a single decent win. He got absolutely pieced by Moreno. He pulled out of his fight against Tyra. Name me one Amir Albazi win except for Kai Kara-France, which isn't even really a win. He hasn't really beat anyone good. I don't think he deserves that ranking. I think in a couple of years we'll see him get cut from the UFC. That's my take. As it stands right now, I don't think he should be cut from the UFC, obviously, but he should get a step down in competition. And if we were to just follow the trajectory, he's gonna get cut from the UFC. He will. The likelihood of him getting cut from the UFC is very high. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Tofik Musayev. Now this one I'm gonna rant about a bit. If you guys watched his last fight, you'd know what I'm talking about. You might be thinking, why would you put this guy in the cut him now tier, Why would you do that? He won his last fight. And he beat Ignacio Bahamondes, who I rate pretty highly. Did you see what happened in the fucking fight? He lost the first round very fucking clearly. And somehow one judge scored the first round for Tofik Musayev, if I'm not wrong. Then the second round, it was not a 10-8, it was a 10-9. Whichever judge scored that shit a 10-8 for Tofik Musayev needs to be fired. He in the second round got dropped, tried to get back up to his feet, grabbed the fence to defend a takedown as Ignacio Bahamondes was gonna pick him up from the rear body lock and slam him onto the ground. He grabs the cage and pretty much from there uses his wrestling to reverse position. And it's not even the fucking wrestling. It's the fact that after he took him down, he headbutted him on the ground. He did two fouls back to back in a row, which both of them require a point taken, at least. And what did the ref do? Fucking nothing. Bilal Muhammad in Ignacio Bahamondes' corner was fucking fuming, dude. And I was too. I was gonna get my fucking pick right, round by round. I picked Ignacio Bahamondes by round to TKO. Yeah, I was gonna get my fucking pick right, but this guy decides he wants to grab the fucking fence and wants to be a cheater. And other than that, he lost to fucking who? He lost to Oralby, who's good, but that and Oralby did miss weight for that fight. But dude, you shouldn't be in the UFC. I don't like guys like him in the UFC. I think he should be cut from the UFC. I don't think he deserves to be in the UFC. The only win that you have, you're losing the fight, you're gonna get finished, and you foul, you grab the fence, you headbutt your opponent on the ground, and it wasn't even like a head clash, it was a proper headbutt. The difference between a head clash and a headbutt is, a head clash is when the forehead clashes with your opponent's forehead. A fucking headbutt is when you put your forehead into your opponent's fucking jaw, into their fucking chin. That's what a headbutt is. And he did that. And I think this guy does not deserve to be in the UFC. If you're gonna foul twice back to back in one round in a span of 1 minute, and the referee is fucking blind and retarded, that referee should be fired as well. That referee should be murdered. That referee should have missiles launched on his fucking house. That referee should be raped. Okay, that might be a bit. Okay, that. What I'm trying to say is that referee should have his license taken away. Not ignore whatever I said before that. But Tawfiq Musayev, man, it's just cut him from the UFC. I don't want to see this guy's face anymore. Then the last part on the tier list we have Benil Dariush, Big Ben, Benny. I'm gonna put him. I don't see a future. I'm gonna put him in. I don't see a future tier. He did beat Moicano, but once again, the trajectory of things aren't looking too bright for this guy, man. He got slept badly by Benoit Scamdenis. He's about to get absolutely horribly finished by Cullen Salkill. I hope Cullen Salkill submits this guy. But I think Benil Dariush is good enough defensively in his grappling that he won't get submitted. But his chin is just so gone that he's probably gonna get knocked the fuck out horribly by Cullen Salkill. And yeah, I don't see a future for this guy. I think in the next 2 or 3 years he's gonna be cut from the UFC. And he's old, so he's only gonna get worse. And his chin is pretty much gone. You could throw a fucking feather at this guy and he would collapse. You'd go for a handshake and the guy would go unconscious. I don't see a future for Benil Dariush. I think in the next 2-3 years he should be cut. You could cut him right now after he loses to Cullen Salkill, and I would not give a fuck. That's pretty much what that means, and that wraps up the tier list. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And I guess I'll see you guys in the next one.